I never thought I'd witness my own heartbreak unfold right before my eyes. Mia stood there, her delicate fingers intertwined with his, the same hands that once held mine, the same eyes that once looked at me with warmth, now sparkled for someone else. I felt the world slow down. Conversations around me turned into muffled noise. I should have walked away. I should have turned around and pretended I never saw it. But I didn't. I stood there, frozen, watching the love of my life accept another man's confession. And the worst part? She didn't even hesitate. Just last week, she was in my arms, whispering about the future we'd build together. Just last night, she had laughed at my stupid jokes like I was the only guy in her universe. And now? Now she was holding hands with him like I never even existed. People say heartbreak feels like a knife to the chest. They're wrong. It feels like standing in a burning house, knowing you could have run but choosing to watch the flames consume you instead. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms, but I refused to show weakness. I refused to be the guy everyone expected me to be, the one who breaks down, who begs, who pleads. No. If she thought I would crumble, she was wrong. If they thought this was the end of me, they had no idea what was coming next. Because while she was busy choosing him, I was already making plans of my own, and they involved her best friend. Let me take you back to where it all began. Mia and I weren't just another couple. We were the kind of pair people looked at and said, they're meant to be. We met in college, two broke students surviving on instant noodles and coffee-fueled all-nighters. She had this way of making the most ordinary moments feel special. A late-night walk to the convenience store? With her, it felt like an adventure. Studying in the library? She'd doodle little hearts on my notebook when I wasn't looking. For years, she was my person, my safe place, my best friend. I loved her with everything I had, and I thought she loved me the same way. At first, things were perfect. The kind of love you see in movies late night talks about our dreams, lazy Sunday mornings wrapped in each other's arms, whispered confessions of forever. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Maybe it was gradual. A missed call here, a canceled date there. Small things that didn't seem like much at first. But then, those small things turned into something bigger. She stopped texting me goodnight, stopped holding my hand as tightly, stopped laughing at my jokes the way she used to. And the worst part? I ignored it. I convinced myself it was just a phase, that she was stressed, distracted, or maybe just going through something she hadn't told me about. I never once thought that maybe she was falling out of love with me, until I saw her standing there with him. Him. Aaron. Tall, charming, always the life of the party. He was the guy people gravitated towards, the kind of man who never had to try too hard. And Mia? She had always said he was just a friend. I should have seen it coming. The way she talked about him, the way she laughed a little too hard at his jokes, the way she looked at him like he had the whole world in his hands. She never looked at me like that anymore. And now, watching them together, I realized something that should have been obvious all along. I was already a ghost in her life. She just hadn't told me yet. I don't know how long I stood there, watching Mia with him. Maybe it was seconds. Maybe it was hours. Time didn't seem real at Thetan that moment, only the scene playing out in front of me. Aaron's hand lingered on hers a little too long. The way she looked at him, the way she smiled, it was the same way she used to look at me. I wanted to tell myself I was overreacting. Maybe this was just an innocent moment between friends. But deep down, I knew the truth. Something wasn't right. I turned and walked away before they could see me. My heart pounded, but my mind was clear. I needed to know. I needed proof. So I did something I never thought I would do. I followed her. That night, she texted me like nothing had happened. Mia, hey, busy with some work stuff. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? Lies. I knew exactly where she was, because I was watching. From the cafe across the street, I saw them together, laughing, leaning into each other. Their body language screamed intimacy, something she hadn't shared with me in a long time. And then it happened. Aaron reached up, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. It was a simple gesture, innocent even. But the way she closed her eyes for a split second, the way she leaned into his touch, it shattered everything. I should have confronted her right then and there. Should have stormed in, demanded answers. But I didn't, because part of me wanted to see just how far she was willing to go, how much she was willing to lie. And the next morning, when she greeted me with a soft kiss and a, "Good morning, babe," like nothing had changed, I knew. I knew she had already made her choice. And it wasn't me. I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, my mind a battlefield of conflicting emotions. Was I imagining things? Was I being paranoid? I wanted to believe I was wrong. That maybe Mia and Aaron really were just friends. That what I saw was just a moment taken out of context. But no matter how hard I tried to convince myself, the truth gnawed at my gut like a parasite. She hadn't kissed him. She hadn't openly betrayed me. Yet. But her heart was already slipping through my fingers. And I was the only fool who still pretended to hold on. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I grabbed it instantly, hoping, praying it was MIA, maybe telling me she loved me, that she missed me. That I was just overthinking. But it wasn't. It was a text from my best friend, Ryan. "Ryan, dude, I don't know how to say this, but I think you need to see something." A second later, a picture popped up. Mia at a restaurant with Aaron, her hand resting on his. My throat tightened as I gripped the phone. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, a million words forming and vanishing before I could type a single one. A part of me wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Another part of me wanted to call Mia right then and demand the truth. Instead, I typed the only thing I could. Me. Where was this? When? Ryan. Last night. A couple of us saw them together. I didn't want to say anything until I was sure that my girlfriend, the girl I had spent years loving, was falling for another man. I let out a bitter chuckle, rubbing my temples. So it wasn't just me. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't paranoid. I was just the last to know. The next morning, I met Mia as if nothing had happened. She smiled at me, kissed me like she always did. "Hey, babe," she said, slipping her arms around my waist. "I missed you." I almost laughed. Did you? Instead, I wrapped my arms around her, inhaling her familiar scent. For a split second, I pretended that nothing had changed. But deep down, I knew. This wasn't the same Mia I had fallen in love with. And I wasn't the same guy who would blindly believe her lies. I had already accepted the truth Mia was slipping away. But I wasn't prepared for what happened next. That night, I made up my mind. No more overthinking. No more excuses. I needed proof. Something undeniable. Something she couldn't talk her way out of. So I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I followed her. She had told me she was going to bed early. A lie. Because 20 minutes later, she walked out of her apartment, dressed up not for sleep, but for someone. I stayed back, keeping my distance as she made her way through the city streets. My heart pounded with every step she took, leading me closer to the truth I didn't want to face. Then, she stopped. Outside a fancy rooftop lounge, where dim lights and soft music created the perfect setting for lovers. And there he was, Aaron, waiting for her. Mia smiled the kind of smile she used to give me. Then, before I could even process it, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. I expected a hug, maybe even a lingering touch. But no, she kissed him, right there, under the city lights, in front of everyone like she had nothing to hide. Like I didn't exist. My body went numb. My vision blurred. I had imagined this moment so many times, doubted myself, wondered if I was overreacting. But now I was staring at the truth with my own eyes. The girl I had loved, the girl I had trusted, was kissing another man. And the worst part? She looked happy, genuinely, effortlessly happy, like I had never even mattered. I should have turned away, should have walked off and let her go. But I didn't, because as I stood there, heartbroken and furious, a thought crept into my mind. If Mia could move on so easily, then so could I, and I knew exactly where to start, with her best friend. I wasn't sure what I expected when I walked into Mia's apartment the next day. Maybe guilt, maybe panic, maybe an attempt to lie her way out of it. But when she opened the door, all I saw was relief. But she had been waiting for this moment, like she had wanted to be caught. "Hey," she said, forcing a soft smile. "You're early." Early. As if this was just another normal day. As if she hadn't just spent the night in another man's arms. I stepped inside, my jaw tight. "Where were you last night?" She blinked, and for a split second, I saw the hesitation in her eyes. The flicker of panic before she smothered it with calm indifference. "I told you," she said. I wasn't feeling well, so I stayed in. I laughed cold, sharp, bitter. "Try again." Her expression faltered. "What do you mean?" I pulled out my phone, flipping through the pictures I had taken the night before. Mia. With Aaron. Kissing. I held it up, watching the color drain from her face. "Do not lie to me, Mia," I said, my voice low. "Dangerous. Tell me the truth." She swallowed, glancing away. I was going to tell you." I let out a breath, shaking my head. "When? After you slept with him? After I walked in on you together?" Her eyes snapped back to mine, wide with shock. "It's not like that, don't." My voice was sharp, cutting through whatever excuse she was about to spill. "Don't insult me by pretending this was an accident, that it just happened." Mia ran a hand through her hair, frustrated. "I didn't mean to hurt you, okay? I don't know when things changed. I never planned this, but you let it happen," I snapped. "You chose him." She went silent. That was the moment I knew. She wasn't going to fight for us. She wasn't going to beg me to stay. Because in her mind, I was already gone. I clenched my jaw, forcing down the lump in my throat. "Tell me one thing," I said. "Did you ever love me?" Mia's lips parted, but no words came out. That hesitation? That half-second of silence? It was my answer. I nodded, stepping back. "Got it." I turned, walking toward the door. But just as I reached for the handle, I heard her whisper, "Are you going to be okay?" I froze. Then, slowly, I turned back to face her. Mia stood there, arms crossed, worry creasing her brows, as if she actually believed I would fall apart over this. As if she thought I would drown in heartbreak, lost and shattered, unable to move on. That's when it hit me. She thought she had won. She thought she had broken me. I let out a breath, shaking my head with a small, humorless smile. "Me?" I said, tilting my head. "Oh, Mia." I stepped closer, lowering my voice just enough to make sure she heard every word. "You should be asking that question to your best friend." Her eyes widened. "What?" I smiled. Then I walked out. Because if Mia thought I was going to sit around and cry over her, she had no idea what was coming next. I walked out of Mia's apartment with my head high, my heart still bruised but no longer bleeding. She had expected me to break, to crumble, to beg. But she had underestimated me. I wasn't the type to sit around, drowning in heartbreak. I was the type to get even. And that's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was call her. Lena. Mia's best friend. The one who had always been there, watching from the sidelines. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey, what's up?" I took a slow breath. "Are you busy tonight?" A pause. Then a knowing hum. "Not at all." I smirked. "Good. Let's go out." Lena and I had always had chemistry, anyone could see it. But out of respect,